I think scientific research is not well understood. There's lots of false starts, lots of dead ends, lots of self-doubts. In the beginning is really, why are you wasting time with this? At the end is, why didn't you do it sooner? I'm Pedro Bizarro, co-founder and chief science officer at Feedzai. Welcome to our weekly update. For us to really make good decisions with our machine learning models, we need to have fresh and recent data. And in order for us to do that, we are keeping profiles, for example, how many transactions you have been doing in the last 24 hours or 1 month to compare if your current behavior matches your typical behavior. But for us to have all of those profiles in memory for millions of cards and terminals and so on, that information takes a lot of space. So we had to compromise and either store less information or store it with a much smaller window time. So instead of keeping track of the number of transactions, say in the last week or the last month, we just keep track of the last 24 hours. Another way that we were doing it, we were using multiple systems, but this was a little bit convoluted, messy, and actually any other system in the market was going to suffer from the same issue because it was costly to keep all of this information updated in real time to the millisecond for everything that's happening in the network. In computer science, there's what's called the hierarchy of storage, where there's storage that is faster to access but more expensive, for example memory, or storage that is less fast, so slower to access but less expensive, for example hard drive. So normally you store the most critical things in memory because you have fewer of them but you want to get them really quickly, and you store things that are less important in a hard drive because you have more space, but it's also less expensive. In our case, what we wanted was to have the benefits of disk storage, but also the benefits of main memory. So that was the goal of Railgun. I know precisely when I need to fetch that information from the disk. So what we did is we were able to fetch information ahead of time into memory, and when we need it, it's already there. So less cost of storage because now we require less memory space, and less costs of computing because, as I said before, we needed two different systems to compute the real-time and the historical profiles, and now we need only one system that is able to do both. By doing that, we are saving a huge amount of money in data processing, and it basically applies to all of the systems that we are using. So transaction fraud, anti-money laundering, KYC, so everything that uses Railgun is going to benefit from that new system. In research, we normally solve future problems that maybe they look small right now, but we expect them to be big in maybe 3, 4, 5 years in the future. In Railgun, when we started, the costs that we were trying to save back then were small. So it was actually difficult in the beginning to convince others that Railgun was worth pursuing. But if you look into the future and expect that Feedzai was growing exponentially and that we are going to have more and more clients in the cloud, the benefit in 2019 is not so high. But maybe in 2022, 2023, 2026, it's going to be on the many millions. And that was what we were aiming for. With Railgun, it becomes a really huge, impactful thing. It goes from being silly to being obvious. And for me, that is really amazing to see the life cycle of an idea. It touched so many different dimensions. We got a scientific paper on VLDB, one of the top conferences in data processing in the world. We also got a number of patents based on Railgun. And of course, the benefit of seeing Railgun going to the clients and actually even having finance people and the legal people trying to put Railgun in the contracts and seeing the benefits of Railgun. So it was really special to work on this project. Took many people working on this, but the impact has been really tremendous. Thanks for watching. This was your weekly update.